County woman claims her involvement in an online alien cult led to the death of her boyfriend. Robert Rogers is charged with shooting Stephen.
It was the early 2000s. The internet was still a wilderness. Message boards, dial-up tones, geocities, shrines to angels and aliens. And in the middle of it all came a voice. A woman in her basement talking to God, or so she claimed. Her name was Sherry Schreiner. She wasn't a televangelist. She wasn't ordained. She had no church, no congregation. Not in the traditional sense, but she had the Watcher file. It started as a blog, harmless, almost comical, tales of reptilian invaders, mind control towers, orgone energy, but the stories evolved.
They live among us, clones, soul-scalped humans, aliens in disguise, and they hate the name of Jesus.
And people listened. She called herself God's chosen mouthpiece, a last days prophetess, sent to reveal the spiritual war. Invisible to the rest of us, she claimed demons were walking in human skin, that the world was run by hybrids, that celebrities were shapeshifters, that the apocalypse was near, and only one thing could stop it: orgone. To most, it sounded ridiculous, a bizarre mix of pseudoscience, Christian extremism, and UFO paranoia. But to others, it was salvation. Sherry said she had been targeted by the government, that her radio shows were being jammed, that her enemies were trying to silence her, and the more outrageous her claims became, the more people followed. One post at a time, one broadcast after another, she created a parallel reality, a digital pulpit where she was both the pastor and the general. She wasn't just warning people, she was arming them. And she had a new enemy, the New World Order. She claimed they were using food, music, and television to seduce the masses, that the Antichrist was coming, that RFID chips were the mark of the beast, and that only a chosen few would survive. Her followers began making orgone blasters, simple chunks of resin and metal shavings. She swore could destroy aliens and demons. They buried them in parks, left them near cell phone towers. Some mailed her money, others mailed her weapons. And through it all, Sherry sat behind a microphone in her basement, speaking in the name of God.
Don't trust your pastor. Don't trust the media. Trust the Most High. Trust me. I am his mouthpiece.
But who was she really? A prophet? A scammer? Or something far more dangerous? One follower would end up dead. Another would be labeled a killer. And Sherry would never see the inside of a courtroom, because the war she waged wasn't with bullets or bombs, it was with belief. 2010, Sherry was no longer just a woman in her basement. She was a leader, a prophet with a growing digital flock. Loners, drifters, spiritual seekers, people who felt unseen, people looking for meaning. Her message had everything: God, war, angels, aliens, sins and salvation, and an invisible enemy at every corner. Among the most devoted was a young man named Stephen Mineo. He wasn't a criminal, nor a fringe lunatic, just a guy from rural Pennsylvania who found purpose online. Stephen believed in the war. He believed in the Orgon. He believed in Sherry. He joined her forums, promoted her videos. He built Orgon weapons in his garage. He called Sherry Mum. Thousands followed her, but only a few truly lived for her. And then came Barbara. Barbara Rogers met Stephen through Facebook. She was ex-military, quiet, with a soft voice and deep eyes. She fell for Stephen quickly, and he, already deep inside Sherry's teachings, brought her into the fold. They joined chats, shared photos of Orgons, posted about demonic attacks, clone celebrities, alien possessions. Barbara didn't just tolerate Stephen's beliefs, she began to share them.
If you feel like you're being watched, you probably are.
I keep seeing people who are people. They have black eyes.
My neighbor's changed. Something is wrong.
Barbara began having dreams she thought were from God, and nightmares that she swore were not her own. But something was shifting. Sherry's teachings weren't just paranoid, they were increasingly hostile. She claimed soul-scalped humans walked the streets, that hybrids must be exposed, that some humans were beyond saving. And then she turned on Barbara. Sherry told her followers that Barbara was a witch, a vampire, a reptilian, sent to destroy Stephen. Stephen was caught in the middle, the woman he loved or the prophet he worshipped. He tried to defend Barbara, tried to reason with Sherry. When you question a prophet, you become a heretic. Stephen was banned, shunned, from the only community he had ever truly belonged to, and something in him began to unravel.
I still love Sherry, I do, but she's wrong about Barbara. I know she is.
He wasn't just losing his faith, he was losing his reality. Meanwhile, Barbara said she began hearing things, seeing figures in the mirror, waking up in the night with bruises on her arms. She told Stephen the demons were real, that they were inside him, that she could feel them watching. And then, one night in July 2017, Stephen told her something she'd never forget.
He told me to pull the trigger.
He said death was the only way out, that the cult had destroyed his soul, that the demons were winning. Barbara Rogers would call 911 minutes later. She would be charged with murder, and the prophet who brought them together, she would never be charged with anything. By the summer of 2017, the cracks were showing. Stephen was dead. Barbara was behind bars. And Sherry, self-proclaimed mouthpiece of God, was doubling down.
They were demons. They were soul scout. That's what happens when you betray the Lord.
She went online the next day. No grief, no condolences, just doctrine. Her followers believed her. Some said Barbara was a CIA witch. Others claimed Stephen had been cloned. To them, it wasn't a tragedy. It was a spiritual warfare. And Sherry, she kept preaching. Weekly YouTube shows, late night broadcasts, warnings about reptilian invasions, FEMA death camps, alien soul traps. Her voice, once frail and unsure, had grown thunderous. This wasn't a cult leader in retreat. This was a woman at war.
Woman who claims her boyfriend wanted her to kill him because of problems with an online cult pleaded not guilty today in the Poconos. Barbara Rogers from Coldwater Township was in court today. Investigators in Monroe County believe she shot and killed her boyfriend.
But offline, things were changing. Journalists had taken notice. So had the FBI. Her name appeared in articles, podcasts. Podcasts dissected her prophecies. YouTube skeptics tore through her archives. She didn't care. She said that the media was compromised, that the agents were coming, that her time was short, and she was right. On January 28, 2021, Sherry Schreiner died. No announcement, no obituary, nothing in the local newspaper, no grave the public could find, just a message on her website, posted days later. Sherry has gone home to be with the Lord. No further explanation. But for her followers, the mission wasn't over.
She's not dead. She's ascended.
They killed her. She knew too much.
She left clues. We have to keep going.
Some say she's hiding. Others say she's coming back. But most just kept logging in. The forum stayed active. The Oregon supply chain never shut down. The teachings still circulate, copied, reshared, rebranded. Even now her voice lingers in dark corners of the internet, calling to the broken, the lonely, the angry, and the deaths. They never went away. In 2021, another follower of Sherry's was found dead in her home. Her family said she'd become obsessed. She stopped eating, slept with a knife by her bed. She thought the neighbors were demons. She thought they were coming. Sherry never pulled a trigger. She never led a march. She never asked for money. Just belief. And sometimes that's all it takes to destroy someone. Before the murders, before the exile, before the blood in the bedroom, there was Orgon. A blue puck, a hunk of a raisin, and shavings. That was it. But in Sherry Schreiner's world, it was the difference between life and eternal soul scalping. Orgon energy wasn't her invention. It began in the 1930s. Dr. Wilhelm Reich, a student of Freud, claimed to have discovered a cosmic life force. He said it followed through everything, and the modern life was killing it. His theories were banned, his equipment destroyed. Reich died in prison, but his followers never forgot. Neither did Sherry.
Argon kills demons. It blinds satellites. It neutralizes chemtrails. It's how you fight the New World Order.
She called it a spiritual warfare, a fight against hidden forces, poisoning the skies, the water, your mind. Her followers made thousands of Orgon pucks. They buried them in the forests, hid them in cities, threw them into lakes. To most, it was plastic and junk. To them, it was divine artillery. Orgon was cheap, homemade, personal, and in the world of Sherry Schreiner, it was sacred.
You need copper coils, aluminium shavings, and resin. You can add a crystal if you want, but remember, it's the intention that matters.
She sold them on her site, gave them away, encouraged others to make their own. She claimed the government sent storms to destroy her Orgon towers, that aliens were disabling the energy grid. Some followers said Orgon saved their lives. Others said it nearly destroyed them.
I spent everything I had, covered my house in Orgon, but the voices didn't stop.
I threw it into the river, but my dreams got worse. I think they're in the water now.
This wasn't faith. It was a siege. Orgon became a line in the sand. If your home was unprotected, you were doomed. If you doubted its powers, you were compromised. And if you questioned Sherry, you weren't just wrong, you were possessed. She said Orgon could expose the reptilians, that it weakened demons, that it could kill the Antichrist himself. It was a weapon and a test of loyalty. And like any gospel, it had commandments. Her followers shared maps, where to bury, what kind to use, how to create Orgon shields. Some even claimed they were being hunted for using it. Others begged for help. And always, Sherry's voice, unwavering.
If they come to you, don't run, don't hide. Just hold on to your orgone. Pray and trust in the Lord.
Stephen had hundreds of orgone pucks in his garage. He believed it was keeping him safe, right until the night he died. After Sherry's death, some followers stopped, others doubled down. To them, orgone wasn't just energy, it was a last defense against a war no one could see. And in a strange way, it worked. Because fear, when packaged just right, sells better than salvation. July 2017. A Facebook post goes up, simple and lethal. To most people, steak tartare is dinner. To Sherry Schreiner, it was a satanic signal. She believed demons couldn't digest cooked food, that witches exposed themselves through appetite. So when Barbara posted the plate of red meat online, it was all the proof she needed.
I warned Stephen. Barbara was into witchcraft. She posted pictures of steak tartare, raw meat. That's a red flag. The demons eat raw flesh.
Sherry told her followers Barbara was possessed. She said she could see it in her eyes, in the shape of her jaw, in the tartare, and like that, Barbara was excommunicated. Stephen tried to push back. He loved Barbara. He said Sherry was wrong. He said she was twisting scripture. But Sherry had her army, and Stephen was alone.
Stephen has turned his back on God. He's made his choice. That woman will be his ruin.
Her followers began to harass Barbara online. Messages, posts, threats. Some said she was an infiltrator, a witch, a lizard in a human skin. They called her soul scalped. And Stephen, he cracked. Friends say he stopped sleeping, became paranoid, withdrawn. One of his final texts, "I don't know what's real anymore." And then came the night of July 15th. Barbara said they'd driven into the woods. Stephen handed her a gun. He told her to pull the trigger. She said he couldn't take the pressure anymore. He said the demons were already inside him.
Stephen Minio has been found dead with one bullet to the forehead.
He told me to do it. He said he wanted to die. He made me do it.
Barbara called 911, sobbing, confused, broken. But that wasn't how the cult saw it. Sherry said Barbara killed him. She said it was part of a demonic plan. She told her followers, "I've warned him. He didn't listen," and they believed her. Barbara was arrested for murder, and the cult, they moved on, as if he'd never existed. Old posts were deleted, mentions of Stephen purged. He was gone, a footnote in the prophecy, a casualty of a Facebook post. But in truth, the post was the crack in the glass, the moment belief shattered into madness, and a prophet's words became the trigger. After the gunshot, after the police, after the body was zipped into a bag, Barbara Rogers gave an interview. One interview. A single sit down in a dim studio with a local reporter. She hadn't spoken publicly since Stephen's death, and what she said was chilling.
Barbara, can you tell us what happened that night?
I didn't mean to hurt him. He wanted it. He said he couldn't fight anymore.
Her voice trembled, her eyes flicked to the side, and behind every sentence was the sound of somebody drowning. She said they were in love. She said Stephen was tormented by Sherry's group, that he feared he'd been possessed, that he was afraid of Barbara too, but also that he trusted her completely.
She'll be the end of him. I see it. I feel it.
Barbara said Sherry's accusations were everywhere, on Facebook, YouTube, emails, that Stephen couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, that he was scared of invisible things. But then the story twisted. In the interview, Barbara said Stephen loaded the gun himself, that he guided her hand, that he asked her to kill him, and she obliged. She didn't call it a murder, she called it mercy. She never explained why she didn't run, why she drove him out of the woods, why her hand didn't shake. The court would later ask the same. Was it brainwashing, mental illness, or something darker? In the interview's final moments, Barbara said something that froze the room.
I still hear his voice. Sometimes I dream he's here, and he tells me it's not over.
And then she smiled, not wide, not warm, just enough to make your skin crawl. That interview was never aired in full. Parts were cut, segments redacted. But what survived was enough to haunt the edge of the case forever. Was Barbara a victim, a villain, or just the final chapter in someone else's gospel? Sherry Schreiner died in January 2021. No funeral, no obituary, just silence. The woman who'd broadcast 24/7, warning about lizard elites, soul-scalped clones, and apocalypse prepping was gone. But her voice kept speaking.
The war isn't over. The end is coming. Don't trust what you see, only what I tell you.
Her followers didn't mourn the way most do. They didn't light candles. They posted memes. They said Sherry had ascended, that she was now a spiritual being beyond the veil. Some even claimed she'd faked her death, that the Illuminati had tried to kill her before and failed, that she was hiding, watching, waiting. Her websites stayed up, her blog post, YouTube channel, the Watchers files, all untouched, frozen like digital mausoleums. Old followers returned to reread her words. New ones discovered her for the first time, and the prophecy adapted. With Sherry gone, splinters formed, mini Shriners, disciples claiming they'd received dreams, visions, orders. Some said Sherry now spoke to them directly. Others said they'd been chosen to carry on the mission.
She appeared in my dream last night, told me to plant Orgon by the 5G towers. We are running out of time.
She warned me. Barbara is still active. She's gathering agents. The war is escalating.
It didn't matter that she was dead. The voice had already taken root, and voices don't need bodies to spread. Private Facebook groups renamed themselves. Discord servers opened with prayers for Sherry. One subreddit even claimed her death was a sign the Antichrist had activated. And then something darker began to happen. People started claiming that Sherry had left secret codes behind, numerical keys in her broadcasts, GPS coordinates hidden in her videos, instructions for what to do if she died. Some followers gathered in rural towns, dug holes in the ground, planted organ pucks. Others mailed handwritten letters to each other. Off-grid communication. One claimed that the voice of Sherry began answering back, not through prayer, through static.
I turned on the radio at 3:33 a.m. and there she was, talking, just like always.
Conspiracy wasn't fading, it was metastasizing. Sherry's death should have been the end of the cult. Instead, it became its resurrection. And somewhere in that chaos, a new voice began to rise. Stronger, angrier, unafraid to call for action. But not all ghosts are harmless. Some want revenge. To understand how Sherry Shriner turned internet strangers into believers, you have to understand her playbook. She never called herself a cult leader. She called herself a servant of the Most High, a digital prophet, but her methods were textbook control. Step 1. Create an enemy. Every good cult needs a villain. For Sherry, that enemy was everywhere. She painted a world teeming with demonic infiltrators, and only she had the map. Step 2. Sell salvation. For $34.99, you could buy Orgon, a raisin puck allegedly powerful enough to repel demons. She sold hundreds, maybe thousands. Every purchase, a ritual. Every ritual, a deepening bond. Step 3. Isolate dissent. Sherry didn't tolerate questions. If you doubted her, publicly or privately, you were a lizard, a threat. She'd exile you, or worse, call you out by name.
She's not one of us. She's been taken. Look at her jawline. That's not human.
Step 4. Control the language. She redefined words. Yah meant God. Soul scalped meant possessed. Truthers were the followers. Agents were anyone who left. And when you change language, you change reality.
The government's full of lizards. Celebrities? All soul scalped. Your neighbors? Probably clones.
Step 5. Embed fear. Sherry didn't just warn of demons. She described in detail how they'd torture you, how they'd wear your skin, how they'd hunt your children. If you left the group, you weren't just wrong, you were doomed. And step 6. Make them dependent. Sherry answered emails, hundreds per week. She gave personal prophecies, told people where to live, who to marry, what to eat. One follower moved to a forest because she told him the cities would fall. Another stopped eating meat. A third cut ties with their own family, said they were infected. And in the middle of it all, Sherry sat behind a keyboard, a warlord without an army, who never needed one. Her playbook worked because it wasn't fiction. It felt real. Because once you were inside, you didn't want to leave. And if you tried, you'd never feel clean again. Every cult leaves a body count, even the ones that claim to save you. Sherry Shriner never killed anyone. She never pulled a trigger, never issued a direct order, but she believed in consequences.
Years before Stephen Mineo died, there was another follower of Sherry Shriner's that had a tragic death. Her name was Kelly Pengilly.
At some point, just started crying hysterically because I just lost my sister.
There was only one set of footprints going to the body and none coming away.
And for some of her followers, those consequences were fatal. Let's start with Kelly Pingley, a 22-year-old student from Indiana, bright, curious, studying social work. She found Sherry's YouTube channel in 2012. Within weeks, she was emailing her daily, asking questions about demons, dreams, reptiles. Kelly began pulling away from her family. She stopped hanging out with her friends. She started buying survival gear. Then one day, she disappeared. They found her car at a wildlife preserve. Inside, her backpack open, her phone dead, and a note. "I'm not scared. I'm ready to go home." Her body was found days later. No foul play. No signs of a struggle. Just cold. Alone. Gone. And then there was Stephen Mineo. We've talked about his death, but we haven't talked about what came before. Stephen had been Sherry's right hand, moderated her forums, defended her on Twitter, built sites for her teachings. But then he fell in love with Barbara Rogers, and Sherry didn't approve.
She's not who she says she is. She's a witch. A vampire. She's gonna destroy you.
Stephen began spiraling. He felt torn between two worlds, between the woman he loved and the woman who claimed to speak for God. In his final days, Stephen was posting panicked videos, saying he was under spiritual attack, that he needed to leave the state, that he didn't know who to trust. Then came the bullet. And still, it wasn't over. There were others. A man in Oregon who built a bunker on Sherry's advice, found dead of dehydration, surrounded by cans of food he believed were poisoned. A mother in Utah who stopped her child's medication because Sherry said Big Pharma was demonic. The child suffered a seizure, permanent damage. Another woman burned her possessions, claiming Sherry had told her the world would end in 48 hours. It didn't. She never returned to work. No mainstream investigation ever followed up. No accountability. No autopsy of a digital body count. Because to most, these weren't crimes. They were tragedies. Quiet ones, unseen, like the blinking light of a forgotten router in a dark room, still humming, still connected, still dangerous. Publicly, Sherry Shriner was careful. Her podcasts scripted, her blogs prayed over, but in private, in deleted live streams, off-air audio, unlisted forum clips, she said things that would never survive on YouTube today. And we found them. Let's start with the recording from 2015. Never aired. Just a one-on-one voice between Sherry and a follower in Ohio.
You'll see them, the demons. They walk in shadows. You stare too long and they stare back. Most of Hollywood's already eaten.
This wasn't a metaphor. This was a doctrine. She believed in soul scalping, a process where demons hollowed out human bodies and wore them like suits. And according to her, they were already here. Another clip, early 2017. This one was only posted for 3 hours on a now defunct website called Orgon Blasters.
The Antichrist? He's not coming. He's already here. They cloned him twice. They're grooming the replacement for Pope Francis. I've seen the files.
She'd begun spiraling into ever deeper fantasies. The Illuminati, aliens, shapeshifters, AI prophets. She believed Yah had told her the dates of the rapture, but he kept changing the plan to test her loyalty. But some sermons went darker. Not about the enemy, about her followers.
They're lazy. They don't fight. Yah told me to clean house. So I'm gonna start naming names. If I disappear, it's because I was taken out. Remember that.
In one unlisted Facebook Live from July 2017, she accused a longtime mod of being soul scalped overnight. By the next week, their account was gone. No goodbye, no warning. She also believed in divine assassination.
I prayed for fire. I prayed for disease. I prayed for their blood to boil in their veins. If Yah wills it, it's done.
This wasn't allegory. This was warfare. And in 2018, she made perhaps her most chilling off-record claim yet.
I know what happened to Stephen. Don't think I don't. Yah showed me. That woman wasn't human. She was a snake in a body. He died fighting for truth.
She claimed ownership of the narrative. Never regret. Only righteousness. And what scares researchers now is what we haven't found. Dozens of her podcasts are missing. Entire blog entries scrubbed. Private forums offline. Emails have gone dark. But in scattered discords and encrypted chats, her voice still circulates, passed between believers like relics, not as prophecy, as scriptures. These were never meant to be heard outside the fold, but now you're hearing them too. Sherry Shriner died on January 28, 2021. No public memorial, no obituary in the Times, just a Facebook post quietly confirming the end of a digital messiah. But her death wasn't an ending. It was a signal, and it unleashed something far worse. Within hours, forums lit up. She's not dead. Yah took her to prepare the army. We are the ones now. Her cult didn't collapse. It fractured, splintered into private discords, encrypted signal chats, untraceable substacks. Dozens of new prophets rose up, claiming to be her chosen successor.
She's not gone. She ascended. The war is still coming.
I am the next voice of Yah. Sherry appeared to me in a dream.
And this time, they weren't just selling orgone. They were selling preparations, classes on how to identify lizards in your community, PDF manuals on how to survive soul scalping, survivalist kits repackaged with Bible verses, exorcism by Zoom. Most chilling, they targeted new demographics: teen gamers, flat earthers, crypto conspiracy forums, even QAnon defectors. The Shriner ideology evolved, fusing alien theology with end-time prepper logic.
Yah is watching. The time is near. You must fight the lizards.
One forum coined a new term: Truth Soldiers. They believed Sherry died fighting in the spiritual realm, that her mission was cut short, and that her follower must now finish what she started. Some of them moved off-grid. Others created mirrored backup sites. Some launched podcasts, veiled in biblical language, but laced with Shriner dogma. And then came the AI sermons. Clips that sound like her voice, but weren't. Generated using fragments of old recordings, patched together by machine. Her digital ghost preaching new sermons to a generation that never knew her face. A new cult, decentralized, unstoppable. Sherry once controlled a movement from a laptop in her basement. Now, that laptop is in 1,000 hands, and none of them are blinking. They say death ends a story, but with Sherry Shriner, it only paused. Her websites are gone, her Facebook frozen, her podcasts offline. But the words still move. Scroll deep enough into a forum and you'll find a thread still active. Click long enough through YouTube and you'll land on a sermon, a voice stitched together by AI, a comment section of prophecy, hate, and heartbreak. Somewhere in Ohio, a man is still burying Oregon pucks in his yard. In Texas, a woman is raising her children on Shriner's doctrine. In a Discord room labeled Watchmen of Yah, teenagers are training to spot demons in supermarket. This cult didn't vanish, and now it hides inside the very architecture of your screen. Shriner's gospel is no longer just scripture. It's a temple, a blueprint for belief in an age where truth is customized. The danger now isn't just Shriner, it's how and who comes next. Because for every cult that ends, 100 seeds are planted, each one waiting for a drought of meaning, a flood of fear, a famine of truth, and then they bloom. Somewhere tonight, someone's clicking on a link, hearing a voice, feeling a chill, and thinking, maybe this is the one who gets it. That's how it starts. Not with a shout, with a whisper.
If you don't have Orgone, you'll die.
And in the age of endless voices, maybe the most dangerous thing isn't what they are saying, it's how badly we want to believe. And maybe, just maybe, it's already too late to unplug.
Hello everybody, I'm Sherry Shriner, and I just wanted to make this video on soul scalping because it's something I was warning about last year, that this year would be dominant, something on a massive scale.
Just a quick video involving Sherry Shriner. I was curious as to how many people had actually followed her, read her materials. Is there anybody maybe out there who knew her personally? I'm just curious because I read one of her books and I've listened to a few of her podcasts, and I find that a lot of her information is really legit. I just kind of got led to her, so, but obviously it was years after she passed away. So I was actually just really curious, like, is there anybody out there, well, how many people out there have read, her materials or listened to her podcasts, found access to her books, et cetera, et cetera. And is there anybody out there who actually maybe even knew her? I'm really curious. Anyway, just throwing it out there. Take it easy, folks.
An Ophscura production. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. Bye!